So does this make you the worst team in the East now?
It does not.
You think you feel so bad about this because you make so much fun of me and the Sabres that now that you've lost to us, it feels that much worse?
I believe they call that karma.
Yeah. You believe in karma?
Of course. Why do you think we have so many championships?
Wait, you think you have a bunch of championships because you're good people?
No, I know we have so many championships because we are the best people.
So how come most of your teams suck right now? Did the universe just stop being a Boston fan?
No, it's because the Patriots ran Tom Brady out of town.
Yeah, that actually kind of makes sense. So how do I make the universe start being nice to me?
I don't know. Usually I just bully the fan bases that I know the universe doesn't like, but I don't think that'll work for you.
Why is that?
Because I think the universe hates you the most.
Yeah, I was afraid of that.
Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins franchise. So, how's everybody doing? Well, not great, I'm sure. Because the Buffalo Sabres are a team. How do I talk about this game? Hey, you want to see something funny? Boom! That's kind of the story of the game right there. That's probably how we could start it, I guess. Let's talk about the Sabres. Let's just talk about the Sabres for a second. This is the second meeting of the year with the Sabres. We beat them 3-1 in December while they were cratering, although I guess they never really stopped cratering until tonight. Quick rankings, they're 27th on the power play, 21st on the penalty kill, 15th in goals for, and 29th in goals allowed. Look, this team is brutal when you look at the standings and the generic stats and all that stuff. I still look at the roster itself and think that they have a ton of talent and like playoff caliber talent all over the place. And you know what? The analytics, they say that they're actually overperforming. It's slightly, but still overperforming. They're last in the Eastern Conference. They don't create high danger chances at a threatening rate. They don't control the puck enough to look like a contender, obviously. But they have the second best 5-on-5 shooting percentage in the league and are actually scoring at a higher clip than their actual shot generation and their high danger chance generation. And somehow they're scoring more than expected at 5-on-5. These are 5-on-5 numbers right now. Their defensive goaltending is letting them down, sure, but they're pretty close to where their expectations are with that. I don't understand. I don't understand this team at all. Because, I mean, to be at the bottom of a pretty weak Eastern Conference while also having the higher 5-on-5 goal output than your play actually suggests you should have, that's probably a really bad sign. I mean, this season's been a huge bummer for Buffalo, right? Because there are so many pieces that were put into place with the next step in mind. UPL's second half of last year made it seem like he was the guy. Dahlin and Power were supposed to be part of this 1-2 punch down that left side that was supposed to, just be really difficult to deal with. And they spent assets and time to create a roster that thought not only would be skilled, talented, but also one that would be responsible and structured. And they bring in Ruff, which is, I guess, depending on who you talk to, a good decision for structure, at least. I don't know. And they suck. They suck. They're not in cap hell, which is good, but they also have a bunch of players that need to get re-signed in the offseason that are due for raises, I guess, just because they're on ELCs, but like individual play, there's still certain guys that are going to get sizable bumps here. I don't know. This is so, what is wrong with this franchise, right? All that being said, they just kicked the absolute Jesus out of the Boston Bruins. So what is wrong with this franchise? There were some people in good faith who were pointing out that they appreciate Zadorov. Must have been a hard watch for you guys. Jesus. It was so bad. If your top pair, that's actually a game note I'm just saying now. This is a very casual start to the video. If your top pair is Zadorov Peak, you're in trouble. So, well, let's talk about the lines. Marchand, Patrick Coyle, Geeky, Zaka, Pasta, Frederick, Lindholm, Letary, Kepke, Beecher, Brazel, and then Zadorov Peak, Callahan, Osterley, Lohrei, Wotherspoon, with Swayman getting the start. Hampus Lindholm is a full participant in practice now. Charlie McAvoy, same. Kostelic, I don't believe so. Wallstrom's out with an illness, and Brandon Carlo's out with an illness. So, 3 of our top 4 defensemen are out. So, like, let's give the team a little bit of a break. But the problem is, the defensive pairing that looked the worst was 2 guys who are typically in the lineup, which is Zadorov and Peak. Again, they're playing above their stations because Zadorov absolutely isn't a top pairing defenseman, and neither is Peak, for that matter. The forwards, though, are pretty healthy. And all of the lines got outplayed thoroughly throughout this one. It was a really bad night. And it's a bummer of a night because you go into this game and you're heavily injured, I get it, but you're going against a team that has just been a disaster. A disaster. And they've beaten some good teams this year, I get it. But I guess this kind of reminded me, I don't know, this is a real bummer of a take. This is a very negative take. And I don't like it. And I'm not even sure I agree with it. But this game kind of made the statement that where I believe the Bruins are right now, they're 5-1-1 in their last 7 going into this game. Good home ice performance lately. But they're in a battle for these wild card spots with 7 other teams. I mean, the odds are low just because you're in the battle, right? It's not even that, like, you're not as good as these other teams. There's only 2 teams that are going to get these wild card spots, and there's a lot of teams vying for them. So in my sense, it's, wow, this team must be feeling urgent. There must be a lot of urgency, and there's going to have to be passion and fight and grit because you are in, for the next couple of months, an absolute battle in the standings. And this game kind of, I don't know, just kind of put up the sign that, like, no, we don't actually feel that urgent. We don't feel that much pressure right now. I don't understand that. I'm stuttering in this video because I'm genuinely confused. It's one thing to lose this game, but I mean, no details, no focus, no passion until some bullshit at the end with Zadorov that we're going to talk about. But I was just really, really surprised that this is the way they came out. They came out slow. They got pinned into their zone right away. And well, I guess let's talk about the game. But I'm not even sure I believe that take because it is overtly negative, and that's not really what I want to be doing here. And I'm gonna believe in this team until I simply can't. But man, it's every time there's a little bit of like traction or anything. They put one of these out. We've had so many of these games this year that really make it difficult. If you watch every single game, which many of us do, it's really hard to sit there and be like, I'm very optimistic about this team. I feel like I'm not saying this is true, but there are some people who jump in and they're very, very forward about like negativity and things like that. Like, I've seen 18 of these games, these exact games. 18 is probably an exaggeration. Hold on, give me a second. Turns out 18 actually wasn't that much of an exaggeration. I just looked at our schedule and went through the months, and by my count, 15 of the 27 losses that we have been these just brutal kicks to the balls. So, that's probably not a good sign. But here's a fun twist on that. Couple months left of the season. If this team just gets hot, I don't really see how it's going to happen. But if it did, it does become a team that's really, really not fun to play against in the playoffs. We'll talk about that, though. Let's talk about this game a little bit. Puck drops! Like, comment, subscribe. Nailed it. I actually have very few notes about the first period because for a lot of this, the Sabres were the better team, but a lot of the chances were being kept to the outside, and there weren't a lot of high danger or impactful plays going on. But 7:15 left of the period. The Bruins are really finally starting to get engaged with the game. They're finding some time in the offensive zone. They're laying some forechecking pressure. And this is going to result in a really nice play for us because with 7:15 left, Lohrei is going to receive the puck at the left point. And he has Benson pressuring him. And Lohrei is going to pump fake as if he's going to either move or pass diagonally. Benson sells out. Lohrei just goes right around him, then uses his lanky frame to kind of protect the puck as he's skating into that circle with Benson draped over his shoulder. He's going to pick his spot, fire low glove. It's going to beat Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, and it's going to be 1-0. With Lohrei just continuing to build his offensive game, and there's been little subtleties that his defensive game is rounding in as well. There's still a long way to go there, but I've said it before, I'll say it again. Lohrei's a couple years away from being an excellent NHL defenseman. It's going to take time, and there's going to be a bunch of mistakes that are going to be really frustrating, but his confidence is growing. If the second half of his season is looking like the past few weeks, past few games, I'll be pretty excited about that. The problem is, less than a minute later, 6:21 left, it's a 3-on-3. Coming out of Buffalo's zone, it's a 3-on-3. Everyone's covered. Bruins are going for a change with their last two guys, and so are the Sabres. This is the first period. This isn't long change, right? The Sabres aren't closer to our offensive zone. But somehow, the Sabres get it done first, and Tage gets into our zone before anybody else does. So the 3-on-3 pushes everyone back, and then the puck gets pushed to Tage Thompson at the top of the slot, who's completely uncovered and gets to hammer this directly at Swayman. He beats him, blocker side. Swayman gets beat from distance here. But this is a one-timer that teleports to the net. Holy smokes, this guy can hit the puck hard. I don't know. I don't even know how you make contact with that. It might break your arm. Ridiculous. It's 1-1. We give up a tying goal immediately. Period's going to end 1-1. The shots are 10-5. We're going to the second, and I feel really good. I'm like, okay, not a great first, but we looked bad. Right? Like, there's so much to clean up. You can't possibly think that this is going to continue the whole game. Move forward. If it's 1-1 and we look that bad, we can win this game. Very winnable. And then 1:30 in, a poor play by Yoki Haru turns the puck over on the far wall of the Sabres defensive zone. Coyle is able to tip the puck to Marchand at the bottom of the far circle, who is going to skate in slightly, has nothing but space to get to UPL, right? He has nothing in front of him. He can go right to the net. I know the puck's on his backhand. Instead, he opts to try to force a pass to Patra, who's covered in the slot. It does get tipped. It goes into Patra's skates. No shot gets taken. Marchand, you are the captain. You're also a far better goal-scoring threat than Matthew Patra at this stage in your career. Would you just take it to the net, please? I'm kind of sick of how often the concept of, like, just shoot the puck, man. Just shoot the puck. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to move on. 4:43 in. Sabres with pace into our zone. And Zadorov, he's going to follow Peterka down the right wall, who's a puck carrier. He's going to hit the brakes. Zadorov's going to stop with him. Peterka's going to feed up to the top of the slot. Now, Zadorov has a choice to make here. Because Pasternak was coming back looking like he was going to help cover, but he just circled right back up to the blue line. No clue what Pasternak's plan was there. He's like, oh, this isn't really my job. Let me go back. Okay, fine. But Zadorov now is just watching. Wall, McLeod, goes directly where Zadorov should be, which is standing right next to Swayman. And while Zadorov watches, the puck gets down to McLeod. The other defenseman, Peak, jumps over to try to handle that. McLeod just gets to pass it across the top of the crease to Tage, who has a wide open backdoor tap-in. And it's 2-1. The puck watching is insane to me. You're on the wall. I don't care what the play is from there. You shouldn't be on the wall anymore. There's no play that Peterka made that means you should still be standing there. Not a single one. If he left the puck, pushed it anywhere else, You shouldn't be standing next to him on the wall. I hate it. Anyway, let's move on. 6:30 in. This is as simple as it gets. Remember, they just scored. You got to respond. The Sabres cross the blue line. They dish to Peterka, skating into the left circle. Peak, he backs off to cover the slot, where Zadorov already is. I get that Patra's late on the back check here. Patra did just get tangled up in the initial trying to stop it through the neutral zone. But Patra's late to come back. Peak gives him way too much space. And Peterka with one hell of a sniper-rooney and jeez! Top glove from an angle. Like, this is posted in. What a shot. It's 3-1. Can't even be that mad at... I mean, I can't be mad at Swayman at all for that one. That's a hell of a shot. Honestly, the goals up to this point, I'm sitting there going, I don't think Swayman's really that much to blame for these ones. 9:27 left. Zacha draws a hooking call from Samuelsson. We'll go to the power play. This is where the dread set in for me that this is the 6-game losing streak Bruins. This isn't the I'm expecting them to come back from this deficit against the worst team in the Eastern Conference Bruins. That's how bad this power play was. I mean, it shook me to my core. 102 left. Marchand's going to go for a slashing. We didn't score on the power play. I don't know if that answered that, but we didn't score on it. 102 left. Marchand is going to go for slashing. We're going to go to the penalty kill. In the third period, we'll still have to kill off 58 seconds of that penalty kill, which we do. 3:13 in. This is just not a competitive team tonight. It's not. It's not. Thompson skates down the right side into the right circle, uses Zadorov, who's giving him so much space. It's Tage Thompson, and he's just backing off. He uses Zadorov as a screen to beat Swayman high glove. Again, I'm not just dunking on the guy for dunking's sake. This was one of the worst Zadorov games I can remember, and it's funny because again, I don't like the fact that Zadorov plays for the Bruins. I do not think he's a good hockey player, but after the first period, I wrote a note saying, man, I can't remember the last time I saw Zadorov look so settled in and ready to handle what comes his way. And then the second period happened, and I went, never mind. What a mirage. What an unbelievable moment for me. Should never have made that note. Never done it. Anyway, it's 4-1. I still kind of thought we had a chance. I was still kind of like, I don't know. Maybe we can do something here. 7:35 in. Zacha's going to go for high sticking. We're going to the penalty kill. In 44 seconds left of that penalty kill, Cousins trips Marchand to prevent a breakaway. So going 4v4 for 44 seconds and then a short power play. This is when you start doing the mental gymnastics, right? Like, can we score during the 4v4 and then still have the power play and then score on the power play and all of a sudden it's a 1-goal game? Like, can we do that? We don't do that, but during that power play, we do manage to put one in the net. The Bruins on the transition after a huge shorthanded save by Swayman on a backdoor chance. Huge by him. The Bruins push it back up the ice. Pasta feeds Lindholm behind the net, who pivots quickly, sends it up through the slot, and there's Marchand to beat UPL. High glove. It's 4-2. We're just about midway through the third period. It's a 2-goal game. I kind of thought we'd do it. I was kind of still believing. I was like, it's the Sabres. They find ways to lose these games, right? We can do this. These 2 points are too big. Make a push. 29 seconds later, an awful play by Lettieri turns it over on the opposing blue line, on the Sabres blue line. Then Peterka just blitzes through Wotherspoon and Lohrei. It's literally Peterka versus those two, and he just skates through both of them. Contact all, shrugs it off, goes right through. Swayman tries to dive out, goes right around him, throws it up high, blocker side, and it is 5-2. And I went, oh, okay, never mind. That's where I started. Like, I actually had lost faith that we would win that game. 29 seconds later. At least they didn't make me sit in anguish, right? They just answered me immediately. That's kind of nice for them. I have them, actually. 5:34 left. We pull Swayman, which, I get it. We immediately lose the puck after winning a face-off. And Peterka also has a hat trick now. So, 6-2. Good job, Peterka. Now the annoying thing, something I did want to talk about, because 1:35 left, Zadorov and Peterka are skating down to the end of our ice, where it's an icing call, right? Whistle goes. Clear, concise. You hear the whistle. And Zadorov, well after the whistle, finishes a minor check against Peterka. I say minor check because it wasn't like he blew the guy up. But he made contact and put him into the boards. And Peterka turns around, shoves him, and immediately Zadorov, hands down, tries to get Peterka's helmet off, everything. The reason this is bullshit. I know some people are sitting there being like, I was glad to see some passion. Sure, whatever you want, man. Like, I'm not going to argue against it. The reason I think it's bullshit. Dude, you weigh 60 pounds more than this guy. You are losing 7-2. Or sorry, not yet. They'll score on the power play they get out of this to make a 7-2 final. You are losing 6-2, and that guy got a hat trick. And then after a whistle, way after a whistle, you finish a check on him, and then when he shoves you, you hit him high, he hits you high back, and then you want to fight him. I don't always like the people who are sitting there being like, oh, this guy's going after this guy's weight and size, and they're all out there on the ice, but this was just ridiculous. It was stupid and petty. It was some loser shit. Like, I know that I just sound like I'm picking on the guy at this point. What the hell was that? You lost. Keep it moving. The passion that's there, can we start a game with that? This is what's driving me nuts. Is you want to talk about passion, you want to talk about actually giving a shit. Why is it always when there's 5 minutes left, not when the game starts? I mean, that's been the MO of the team this year. It's all late in the third period. They get real chippy. Great. We're down by 4. Like, what are we doing? I don't know. That one it just really didn't sit well with me because it looked like someone throwing a tantrum because they had lost in an important game against a really bad team. Didn't get it. Didn't like it. Game notes. We'll move on. And one of the game notes is that Zadorov and Peak were just one of the worst. That was awful. They just got absolutely manhandled. As did the top line. They really got demolished. Lohrei looks really good. That's one of the game notes. He looks really good. And when the other guys are back and healthy, I know Lohrei is mostly in a third pairing role right now, but some supplemental good defensive play would be huge. Not on the defensive side of the puck, obviously, because Lohrei is still very much not good defensively, but he has been way better lately, and I'm excited about that. Another game note, I'm pretty done with the Lettieri stuff. He's a replacement level talent on the team. He's not making a big impact, in my opinion. Again, I'd prefer Merkulov, who is, to me, a middle six scoring winger. Bring him up. I just don't understand why we would rather have Lettieri, I guess, is my thing. I just don't really get it. I don't really get it. Injuries or not, this game was super winnable. And they just weren't focused. The details weren't there. And now those 2 points will be lamented as you continue to battle with a handful of other teams for a wildcard spot. This is one of those games, along with a few others, that if the Bruins miss out of the playoffs, this is what we're going to be looking at. And if the Bruins only miss the playoffs by a few points, that means your pick isn't very good. So it won't be the argument of like, well, I'm glad they did it, so our pick's better. It's like it's barely better by a couple of spots. I don't know. I would, especially if they're going to be 18th in the league, I'd rather them just make the playoffs, right? Rather just enjoy that. So, just a bummer. A real bummer. But 5-2-1 in our last 8. There's still plenty to be excited about once this team gets healthy. Plenty to be excited about. Feels a little unrealistic, but there are things that you could definitely think of optimistically here. A healthy D-core, more puck movement from the back end, and some of the lines solidifying in front. I like to think that part of the reason we're getting outshot and outplayed so feverishly through these latest games is because we don't have enough puck-moving defensemen in Hampus and Charlie McAvoy, allowing us to break out properly and really, really possess pucks in the offensive zone as well. So I'm hoping that improves with their return. So we'll see. But this one's a bummer. There's no other way to really put it. Go Bees. Go Bees! And now it's time to say thank you to the high quality inspectors. I appreciate each and every one of you. There's over 100 of you at this point. And I love doing these thank yous at the end, but I think we're reaching such a volume that I have to rethink this strategy because you're all so incredible and so supportive. But this is getting really long and there's got to be a better way, right? But let's start the thank yous, of course, with the top line tier. Dampen, Chris and Erica, Negev79, Trial Exotic, Jeff McGugan, Quackin' Platypus, Andrew Peterson, Sean Kreider, JM, Zenon Noel DeGuy, Donald Shelton, Kevin Timperley, Anakin Palpatine, The Rat 63, Lola Cattingsworth, EKM Productions, Moonlighter TV, Big Bad Bruin, The Bugman, Adam Ella, Jeff with a G, Tommy Braga, Roland 22, GD Viperworks, Len Cruz, Brock Nope, Han Slomo, Coach D, The Atomic Lizard, Bradley Johnson, Brett Arney, Pincent, and Nick Zatrullo. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. You're absolute legends of this channel, and you're very appreciated. And now, of course, to our all-star tier members. Lorenzo Wood, Jake Brower, Penny Pasta, Levi Catalani, Boston Stringler, Bagel, JG's 12, Mark S., Jacob Pratt, Nightmare Eco, John Kirk, Ann Hustis, Joel, Heil E. Coyote, Darren Woodbury, Abraxion, Michael DePaulo, Wolf Warrior, Vinny, Adrian Winter, Tupton D. Tashi, Bruin Smash, DeKingery, The Only Newts, A Tasty Snack, Doots42, and Jeremy. Absolute stallions, every single one. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for being a part of the channel. I cannot express my gratitude. Go Bees.